Absolutely.
How are you, sir? It's good news to me. We just got the October one last night. So I'll be doing some briefing on that because I haven't had time to do a deep dive in it. But yeah, I think really, really I will be talking about the TV next.
Yeah. I am currently still waiting on my intern to come in with the handouts. So as soon as he gets here, because I know you all like to read through it while I'm presenting. So as soon as he shows up, which should be just a couple of minutes, we'll begin. Okay? Yeah, there were still 14 copies that needed to be printed. My intern is from dining. Um, he doesn't know it yet, but he's part of the presentation. We still have people coming in. Whoops. I love technology. I'm going to go take a quick look to see if he's walking down here. Hmm? Do you have his number? Neither do I. Oh, yes, I do. Christian, gentleman in the middle there. Save some trees. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I usually give them to the concierges. So you can come down here, and we can get started on the Asbury Methodist Village 2025 third quarter financial presentation. As always, welcome. It's nice to see everybody came in and braved the chill a little bit. I really appreciate everyone who comes to these. There's a lot of information today. Because yesterday was an extremely busy day. We had our forecast needed to be done, our October financials needed to be printed out, so there was a lot of information that had to be disseminated late last night so I can get this presentation together. So again, my name is Steve Mathis. I am the Community Business Manager, and it is my pleasure to show you what we're going to be doing today. So as we start off, we're going to do welcome and introductions, because there's a couple of introductions that need to be done. We're going to do the third quarter and year-to-date financials. We're also going to be doing the October 2025 financials. And we're going to be doing the 10+2 forecast. We're also going to be talking about occupancy and action plans and the job that sales has done so far this year. We're going to be talking about the preliminary budget that we have going so far. So remember, it's preliminary. This is not final. We're going to talk about what capital projects we have done this year. We are going to talk about the preliminary capital projects, and then in my closing remarks, there's going to be a few little things that I'm going to share with everyone as we move forward. So first off, what's new? Well, we have to give a retirement shout out to our benefits coordinator, Mamta Sood. Her last day is December 12th. We have been going through interview process for her replacement, and I went through the interview process with them yesterday. Like I said, yesterday was a very busy day, and we believe we have an excellent candidate. So we're now going through the process of seeing if they do want to work here at Asbury. So we will have a coordinator in place by December 12th. So we're not going to be without one. Also, Kinley Assisted Living has a new sales director. Many of you may know her. Fran Ricketts has moved over from residential living over to Kinley Assisted Living. And we want to wish her a wonderful, wonderful time over there. And hopefully we will see the things that are going on in Kinley continue. So wish Fran well, and you'll still see her around campus, I'm pretty sure. And also, welcome to AMV's internship program, Christian Fuentes, who's over here. Stand up, sir. He comes from Montgomery College right now. If you recognize his face, that's because he works in the dining room over at Crawford. So he works for the dining team right now, but he's joined me as my intern assistant for the next year. So I am glad to have him. And he was already digging through the October financials this morning when I came in. So kudos. Thank you. So our third quarter and year-to-date financials, what's our campus temperature? You know, I always start with what is an operating ratio? It's expenses divided by revenue. This is the exact thing that we use here, calculation that we use when we
tell what our OR is. Total expenses minus depreciation minus bad debt, divided by net operating revenue plus interest income plus foundation allocation. Now, this says foundation allocation, not foundation, what does it say? Of course, I don't have my sheets in order. Yeah, not in, there's another foundation thing that is listed in there. I'm trying to see where it is. And I apologize for this delay. This is why I didn't want to have this. Foundation contribution. So it's not foundation contributions, it's foundation allocation, which is a line underneath the entire thing. So when we get monies from the foundation, everything goes into foundation's allocations first. And then there are some things like loss and gain that go into that particular thing, and that adds to the foundation contribution. So they're two different things, and anything other than foundation allocation does not get added into our bottom line revenue. So that's just pretty much that explanation. So our third quarter operating ratio was 90.4 to a budget of 94.1. So again, we're below budget. It's green. We're doing good. We had a positive variance in the quarter of $791,500. So overall, we're keeping everything in the green. So as far as operating ratio year to date is also favorable to the budget by 91.3 to a budget of 94.8, which is a positive variance of $2.2 million. I am working on my graphics design. I'm not very good at it, but I'm getting better. As far as operating ratio review, we actually had expenses of $19.9 million to a budget of $21.2, which is a positive variance of $1.3 million. And our operating revenue in the quarter was $22 million to a budget of $22.5, so we were off by a little bit over half $500,000. By $500,000. Year to date, as of September 30th, our operating ratio expenses is $59.6 million to a budget of $63.1, which is a positive variance of $3.5 million. And our operating revenue was $65.3 million to a budget of $66.6. So we're off $1.3 million as far as revenue this year so far. Here's our comparison, and as you see, since 2018, we were at 90.7 on our operating ratio in 2018. That's where we should be as a campus. We should be in that 90% range. As you can see, when COVID hit, we got hit. But we've came through it, and in 2022, we started showing a positive variance. And as you can see, that positive variance is continuing to grow. So that is a very good thing. And then we're down here at 21, as I said previously, it's 91.3% right now. So here is some of the expenses. I'm not going to dwell a whole lot of time on this. I used to have a pie chart over there. I didn't like it, so I got rid of it this morning. But resident services, almost $25 million in revenues for resident services. And then our foundation net contribution is $413,000 so far this year. So some of the things to consider, our net operating revenue has an unfavorable variance of $326,000. Resident services is unfavorable by $935,000. This is in the third quarter. This is not for the year. Contractual adjustments is favorable by $280,000. Benevolent care accounts payable is favorable by $192,000. That means that so far our benevolent care payouts have been under what we budgeted in 2025. Other operating revenue is, that should be unfavorable by $137,000. Amortization of entrance fees is unfavorable by $209,000. Investment revenue was unfavorable by $315,000. Net foundation contribution was unfavorable by $326,000. And total revenues, gains, and other support was unfavorable by $1.2 million. That's a lot of red, folks. It's a lot of red. The only thing we can do is to counteract that red with a lot of green. So here is our expenses. Again, salaries and wages for the month were $8 million, and total expenses were $24. So we had $24,000 in revenue, $24 million in revenue, and $24 million in expenses. However, our total expenses were favorable by $1.3 million in the quarter. And our controllables, those are the items that we can control, like wages and office supplies and food costs and stuff like that, were all favorable by $1.1 million. And all controllable line items have a favorable variance except for contract labor, which was unfavorable by $524,000. And that was because of the move of Asbury Associates to benchmark therapy. So where we had contract labor go up, we had wages go down. And our wages actually went down more than what our contract labor went up. Repairs and maintenance was unfavorable by $21,000, and that was because of flood remediations, and we also had kitchen, HVAC, and roof repairs done in the quarter. So we had 2 flood remediations in that quarter, so that was very expensive. And of course, software was off by, and that is correct, $406. And that was because we had to reclassify something from the original Aramark invoices in January, February, and March that were put into housekeeping cleaning supplies, had to come out and be reclassified as software. It's just the way Aramark does their accounting. Come on, change. There we go. So our third quarter balance sheet, you'll see that our assets and liabilities, the difference between 2024 and 2025 is only $162,000. So that's doing pretty good. Our cash flow statement, as you see, in 2024, we ended at $4.2 million, and we're looking right now at 4.1 as far as cash and cash equivalents. So we're maintaining the line. And this, by the way, is for the Maryland Obligated Group, not just for AMV. So it's us and Solomon's is all included in this. And as far as our cash on hands, you see where we ended on December 2024. We had 230 days worth of cash on hand. Now we have 288. So we're doing pretty good. Now, what that basically means, and I explain this every single time, cash on hand basically means that if no more revenue goes out and our expenses keep piling up, we can stay open for 288 days. The state only requires us to have enough for 110 days. So we're doing really, really well with this. So how did we do in October? This is what I stayed up all night doing. So October, we were at 86.9 on a budget of 92.8. That is fantastic. I can't tell you, we haven't seen a score that low. And we've been in the 80s. This is the second time this year that we've been in the 80s on an operating ratio. So remember when I said that 90s is where we want to be? This helps. This helps a lot. We were $716,000 favorable to operating expenses and $707,000 favorable in total expenses. We were $301,000 unfavorable in operating revenue and $281,000 unfavorable in total revenue gains and other support. But even so, we had a wonderful October. So, October had unfavorable net operating revenue variance of $126,000. Most of that was resident services, which had a unfavorable variance of $152,000. We also had $7,000 in favorable in contractual adjustments, and benevolent care was favorable by $68,000, while other operating revenue was unfavorable by $49,000. As far as total revenue gains and other support, our amortization fees were unfavorable by $41,000. Our investment income was down $25,000. And our foundation contribution was unfavorable by $89,000. So again, there's a lot of red. But when we look at expenses, there's a lot of green. And the green has bigger numbers than the red. So that's one of the good things. Total expenses was favorable by $707,000 in October. Variances in salaries and wages were favorable by $406,000. Associate benefits were favorable by $224,000, as we did not have any health insurance claims, or we had minimal health insurance claims. I think we only had one over $10,000. And we have not had any significant increases in health care. And according to our benefits people, we as a company will not have our health care raises in 2026. The cost of our health care is going to be exactly the same as it was in 2025. Contract labor was unfavorable by $100,000, again, due to benchmark therapy contractors not being budgeted in 2025. But this is offset by the favorability in wages and benefits. And food purchases continue to be favorable. It was $22,000 due to menu and venue enhancements, special events, and dining and catering sales continuing to grow. So those sales in the dining rooms and our catering team have been really, really doing well with upselling. Total expenses, medical supplies and other resident costs was favorable by $23,000. The general administration administrative costs were favorable by $34,000, and repairs and maintenance were favorable by $9,000. Software was favorable by $8,000, and utilities are favorable by $23,000. So what does our 10 plus 2 forecast look? Just as a reminder, 10 plus 2 forecast means we take the first 10 years of actuals and we forecast the last 2 months. So we forecast November and December. So briefly on this, we are looking to be at 91.5 according to the forecast by the end of this year to a budget of 94.3. We are projected to have $79.7 million in expenses to a budget of 84.2, and which is a positive variance of $4.6 million. Our operating revenue is going to be at 87.1 to a budget of 89.3, which is an unfavorable variance of $2.2 million. So overall, we saved over $4.6 million. We're looking to save over $4.6 million in expenses this year. So that goes to all our department heads and our associates who are looking for cost-saving methods. So we're always doing that 100% during our days here. So occupancy and its impact. As you see here, I did not have to change this chart. When I did the second quarter, I based everything off of June. So from July through September, we pretty much stayed in that same 94.7 to 947 to 914. We were in that range, and we were averaging 929, which is an increase of 1 from the second quarter. As far as where we sit right now, residential living is sitting at 642. Kinley Assisted Living is at 127, and Wilson Healthcare is at 157. So the one we're really looking at right now is Wilson Healthcare Center. We've got to focus on that as we move forward, and they have a new director of admissions, and she is doing a wonderful, wonderful job so far. Here we are as far as where we stand at independent living, and as you can see, the villas are 100% full. That's great news, because where the villa goes, so goes AMV. Courtyard Homes is just a little under budget at 95.3. Trot is at 54.1. Diamond, we had a little bit of a glitch in the third quarter where we had 1 month where Diamond looked like everybody was leaving, but they're currently at 82.1. Wallace is at 89.9, so they're almost at their budget capacity. Parkview, another shout out, 90.8 to a budget of 89.2, so they are over budget at Parkview as well. As far as Edwards Fisher is under at 73%, and Mund is under at 61.9. So we still have a lot of work to do, and the sales team is doing the best they can to get us to our budget numbers. So what are we going to do to increase occupancy? Well, first off, we had Retirement 101, which had 107 attendees. I mean, it looked almost like an open house. Retirement 201 had 63 attendees. We had the Villa Showcase, which had 14 attendees. We also had the Diamond and Wallace Open House, which had 90 attendees. It was a good showing there. And Parkview had a right-sizing event on October 22nd, and that had 62 attendees. So these are being very well attended. So, and we are getting a lot of prospects from them, and we're getting a lot of tours from them. So what else are we doing? Well, we have right now sitting in our computers, assisted living has 9 new prospects, and as of yesterday, residential living had 39. So we do have prospects coming in, and they're getting their tours. As far as operations, I did not do this one. I have to give kudos to Ina, who put this up here. It's very interesting on this and I know it's kind of blurry, but we are consistently, with our total move-ins, we are consistently going up. And the big thing to talk about is so far this year is so far what we have in the system and what we are projected to get is to start 2026. We have 13 settlements already projected for 2026, and we had 81 settlements in 2025 so far. So we're talking about 94 sales that occurred in 2025. So we're extremely happy with that. Whereas all the other numbers, look at 2024 where it was 60. So that's a big jump, okay? That's a very, very big jump. So budget. And as a reminder, these are preliminary results. It has not been finalized yet. It still has to go to the big board, and that doesn't happen for another couple of weeks. It happens after Thanksgiving. But anyway, it's a months-long process for both operations and capital. Initial capital budget is created by campus leadership here and department heads, so it's not done by ask. We are the ones who start crunching the numbers and get the numbers together. Residents and associates are also asked where they would like to see the money spent. We also have balances from some priorities with the whole system, particularly brain health, well-being programming, and infrastructure and other services. We have to look at all of that. Line items are then reviewed and refined until they fit within available goals for the year. During that time, when we start this process, which is a little bit late August, the door to my office is like a revolving door. I've got people coming in asking all sorts of questions about the budget. And again, AMV budget is finalized and board approved in December for the following year. So this is basically the timeline, and where we are right now is at the yellow. We're just waiting for early approval. Everything else has already happened. So it's a very busy time, and we've got some good numbers to look at. Other key considerations impacting the budget, it was the U.S. inflation rate is currently up 3.1%, which is up 0.2 from 2024. Economists are expecting that to continue to go up a little bit. The labor force continues to be constrained, especially with increasing wages. Wages increased 3.5% in 2025. You can expect them to increase again in 2026, right around that same number. Wages are at the high end of the market, yet it's often difficult to find staff. So we pay our associates very, very well. And we're above market with that. But for some reason, it still is difficult to find staff. So we continue looking. Food, communications, and energy costs remain high. They increased 2.9% in 2025. They expect that to go a lot higher, and prices are expected to continue to rise due to the unknown effects of tariffs, inflation, all sorts of other things. Supply limitations are still present and persistent, so sometimes it takes us a little while to get some of the parts and pieces that we need to keep everything moving here. So in 2026, that's where our budget is looking. We're looking at $85.5 million in revenue. We are looking at total revenue and gains of $106 million in total revenue. Our total expenses are at $100.7 million. So you can see the drop from 2025 to 2026. And that's a good thing. We want to make sure that we hit our operating ratio, which is going to be at 93.5 for 2026, which is about 0.8% lower than it was in 2025. So capital projects, where do we stand? So these are ones that have been approved and have been worked on. Electronic lock system, the Kinley Security Project, the nurse call system has been replaced, renovations in residential living common areas, especially we're doing the one over in Parkview right now. Roads and sidewalk repairs are ongoing. The Friendship Park at Kinley and Wilson, has anybody visited there? Wow, very good, very good. And we also still have continuing residential living, Kinley and Wilson room renovations. What do we have on the list for 2026? Well, still the 10-year renovations. We're going to be reconditioning of Diamond's facade. There's going to be a new HVAC unit for Wilson Healthcare Center. There's going to be renovations to the Hefner dining room. We're going to be having some additions to the Sportsplex, pickleball. So we're going to have the courts. We're going to have electronic locks in Wallace. The AVTV facility has some upgrades. We need to upgrade some lighting, and a lot of our stuff back in the sound room is going to be upgraded. And we're going to have continued renovations in resident common areas. So closing remarks, resident concerns. Let's start here. Comcast Xfinity. We have signed a new 5-year deal with Comcast. We looked at Verizon. We looked at Dish TV. We looked at DirecTV. We looked at AT&T. They all put in proposals, but Comcast, believe it or not, is the best for us. So one of the things that we did was our basic package now includes local sports channels. Actually, we have 185 channels. It covers a lot of sports. So for those sports enthusiasts, we're going to have you covered. Now, however, currently, all the major sports leagues are negotiating for private streaming services, meaning They're going to be going on to private streaming stuff, which is going to have that possibly taken out. From what I've heard, they're not close to having any streaming services yet. They're not close. But it may happen within this 5-year period. So hopefully, I'm still waiting on a response from my representative as to what their plans are if that happens. Right now, everybody gets 2 free boxes for their TVs. So that's what you're allowed, is 2 free boxes. In this contract, you're allowed to get 3. So if you have that third area in your unit that has a TV that you are now paying for, that third box, it's going to be on this, and that will be taken away from your bill. We are also going to have a dedicated customer service line. There's going to be a line that will have a human behind it, not this push the button, 1, 1, 1, 3. It's not going to be that. We're going to have a dedicated customer service line. It's going to be 24/7. But at hours after midnight to 7 a.m., there will be the automated answering. So at least if something happens while you're watching something at 1 o'clock in the morning, there will be a contact number that you can call and put in a service call. The changeover is going to begin next week. So next week, they're going to start coming in and going in and checking their initial wiring and their initial hubs all across the campus. And then they're going to start doing building by building by building by building, upgrading all the logistical stuff that needs to be upgraded. And then the billing for this will begin on February 21st of 2026. And that contract, like I said, will last 5 years, and it will end on February 20th of 2031. So we are hoping that this is the solution. We will have a direct contact name, and we will also have, like I said, that direct line. We get 10 free units will be placed in residential common areas free of charge, 1 for each neighborhood. So the 400 building will be getting their own television, cable service so that they can watch the Super Bowl. So we're glad that they were able to do that. If you have anybody who's in the Wilson Healthcare Center, there are going to be some programming restrictions. They don't get the same bulk package as residential and assisted living. What they get is what's called the Ultimate Light TV. So it's a few less channels. Instead of 185, I think it's 126. And then this does not have any effect on special streaming programming or internet service. So if you have your internet service with Comcast, this doesn't affect it. If you have internet service with them, that is between you and Comcast. So this does not have any effect on internet service. We tried to get internet service with this contract for everyone, but it was not cost effective. It would have almost tripled our expenses in cable TV. So also, printing, starting on 1/1/2026, we've had an increase this year of printing costs and postage costs. You know, stamps went up from 69 to 74. And from what we've heard, the Postal Service is going to be doing another increase. But starting on January, residents and resident organizations can use our print center. However, there are restrictions. Residents are allowed to do it, but they will be charged to do it. Now, we're not making a lot of money here, okay? But what we're doing is you can go to Kinko's and make copies for, right now, I think it's somewhere in the, it's over 25 cents per page, per copy. We're not that high. I do have a resident pricing sheet at the cost center down there, but we will be billing. That's one of the jobs that my intern is going to be helping me with. We haven't been billing to get the money that we're actually due, so we are going to be starting that. And I wanted to give everybody a warning that all of a sudden, if you see a little line item on your statement, that if you did a print job, it'll probably be in there. And when I say resident organizations, that includes MACRA, that includes GBCI, that includes our partners in interim. When they use a copy center, they get billed. So moving forward, that's what we're going to do it. How do you use it? What you have to do is you have to email officeservices@asbury.org. You must send a PDF copy, and you must also send them your printing request form. All of that type of stuff, I can give you. So if you want to know how to print something at the copy center, you just contact me, and I'll be happy to send you the information. It has to be in PDF form. They can't work off of Word documents or Excel spreadsheets. It has to be in a PDF or other printable type form like a JPEG or something like that. So we can do it that way. And then billing, we'll be doing the billing once a month for all those that particularly use the service. And that way we're going to be generating a little bit of revenue. And when I say a little bit, we're barely breaking even on it, but we are going to be getting a little bit on it because we spend a lot of time on it. And then benevolent care. What is it? Benevolent care is something that our foundation does to those who have lived beyond their means and are still living here on AMV campus through no fault of their own. And that's a key phrase, through no fault of your own. I do give presentations, so if anybody does want to have a formal presentation for their apartment unit, I'd be happy to do it for you. We can set up a meeting, we can set up a time. Who is eligible? Who is eligible is anybody who has come on campus as a residential living resident. So you have to come into residential living. You can't come into assisted living, and if you are coming into Wilson, that's something entirely different. That's called Medicaid. So anybody who has started on campus here as a resident in residential living is eligible for benevolent care once they begin to run out of some of their funds, or they notice that it's getting pretty low. This is not a promise, though, folks. This is just a benefit. This is not a right. We've had some issues this past year where family members seem to think that this is mandatory. We have to do it to them. No. This is a program that we do just out of the kindness of every resident here's hearts, because it's you people who pay for this. And this is this is one of our largest line items that we do every single year. What can be done now? If you have 5, 6, 7 bank accounts, 12 credit cards, or something like that, don't. Please don't. You'll be better off with that. Some of it also can start looking at long-term care insurance. That's always a good way to have some continuing revenue going on. There are a lot of programs. We just found out that AARP has a program that you can put into some of their insurance and that they will pay out, very similar to long-term care. But those are things that you can do now. I get more in depth with that, and it will probably take me another 30, 40 minutes if I went in more in depth with benevolent care. But if you have any questions on benevolent care, I'd be happy to answer them. Anyway, next, thank you. If you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to Michelle Potter or myself, or you can send your thoughts through the campus mail to our attention at the administration building. We are always available we always want to hear from you. I have an open door policy, more like a revolving door policy, but if you wanted to come in and talk to me at any time, please feel free. I have never turned down anybody, even if I was up to my ears and busy. So on that note, this presentation and handouts are available in electronic format upon request. You just email me. It's all ready to go. It's just a click, point, and send. And there's limited supplies of the black and white copies are on desk. Whatever we have left over, we'll probably put at one of the concierge desks. So we'll have that going. But anyway, that is it for me, and we are now free to ask some questions. We've got some time here, and if anybody has some questions, right back there. Yes. Christian will get one for you. And please treat him well. I plan on it.
I'm unclear about the Comcast contract with respect to the villas or courtyards.
Okay.
Is what you're talking about not applicable to us?
No, it's applicable. It's applicable.
But I have a contract with Comcast, right?
If you have if you have a contract with Comcast, it's for something extra. It's not part of the basic. You'd have to show me your current statement, because that is what I found from Comcast just yesterday. Everybody here has basic cable as part of their move-in package. Okay, thank you.
So what would you do if we had it?
If you had it, I would contact Comcast and let them know that people were being charged for something that they shouldn't have been. I will talk to my rep, but it's still going to be up to the resident themselves if that happened, to make sure that they get their refund on that. I can't give the refund because I'm not part of the system with that. But yeah, if that is the case, and I'll review, then we'll see what I can do. Okay? Yes.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
When you contact Comcast to do that initial, hi, I'm a group, we have a group, whatever the heck. Comcast pushes very hard trying to convince you that, no, you don't have a sufficient group thing and you do need to buy an additional package. So if something could be said to Comcast that they should stop beating on the Asbury people and trying to convince them that they needed to purchase something in addition to the bulk contract.
Yeah.
That would be good.
The only thing that you should be purchasing after this particular contract is any of your streaming services that you do, like Hulu or Disney, those type of things.
And that's not through Comcast. And that's my second question. Is there any way that a second negotiation could go on with some of the streaming packages, since they all seem to come out of one or two organizations, to come up with a bulk rate for some of the streaming packages? Because that would be great, because not everybody's into sports.
I understand. Well, this particular package, like I said,
No, separate contract, completely separate contract. Can you please negotiate that? At least try to?
I will
You're
see
Christian.
I will see what I can do, but that's not necessarily something that, since we don't have anything like that now, that's something that's personal to each resident. To try and get a bulk package and bring it in through Asbury, that's adding more expense, and right now we're not going to do that. So I will check into services, but I don't see that happening.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Internet service.
Uh-huh.
Under the current contract, internet service is included, isn't that right?
Asbury's internet is, yes.
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 Is that going to change with the new
No,
contract?
no, because internet is not in that package, so nothing changes with internet.
Okay.
Internet is ThriveWell Tech. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so internet is not going to change.
Just a question. You had budgets for the proposed new year, and you also talked about capital things. Where does the capital budget money come from?
The capital budget money comes from entry fees, most of it.
So it's not a monthly thing then?
It's not a monthly thing, no.
Okay.
No.
And then also, on your quarterly statement, one of the things at the bottom says transfer of capital dash Asbury parent. Who does that go to?
That goes to Asbury Communities, Inc. That's our parent company.
Okay, thank you.
No, you're next.
Is there a list available of all of the channels that will be included in this new Comcast deal?
I've requested one. I haven't received it yet.
Thank you.
You can go online and to Comcast Xfinity and click on viewable channels and click on the one that says Ultimate with 185 channels, and it'll give you an entire list. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of the Lifetime shows are on there. It doesn't do HBO. It doesn't do Cinemax. It doesn't do, what's the other one? Stars. Those are not included. It's just the 185 basic package. Now you.
I think I saw investment income in red ink. Now, this is all black, what we have here.
Oh.
If that's the case, I was surprised that anything in this year, investment-wise, would be negative. So, but maybe I'd ask the question this way. The investment portfolio that's assigned to Asbury Methodist Village is what the earnings in your budget reflect, right?
Correct.
That is all managed centrally by ACOM, my understand is, the investments. So how do we know, by what process do they decide how the investment performance is going to take place among the various communities?
That is a decision that is made up in Frederick. I don't have any. I only focus on what's here on AMV. So what their decision-making process is, that's the Todd Andrews
It is
question.
an assigned number, though, Steve, right? for
Yes.
us?
Yes. Yeah. But that's a Todd Andrews question, or actually Andrew Jenrette. Anyone else? I think I put everybody to sleep. I'm sorry about that. If you do have any more questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email or drop me a note in the campus mail, or even just come visit. I like seeing everybody come in through the administration building from time to time, because I don't get out often. I'm usually on a leash of some sort in my office, so I don't get out very often. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. I really appreciate everybody's attention. And like I said, we're having a fantastic year, and we're looking for a fantastic 2026 as well. So we're doing good. Thank you.